The Accidental Entrepreneur is brought to you with the help of our sponsor, AWeber, the world's leading small business email marketing and automation service provider. Since 1998, AWeber has helped more than 1 million small businesses and entrepreneurs through its suite of web-based email marketing, automation tools, and education. AWeber, the best option when it comes to marketing your business. The podcast is also brought to you by the Alternative Board. Since 1989, the Alternative Board, or TAB, has been one of the leading peer advisory and business coaching organizations for independent business owners and CEOs across the world. By facilitating peer advisory boards, private one-on-one coaching, and strategic planning services, TAB helps business owners improve their businesses in ways that change their lives. And be sure to connect with our affiliate sponsor, GSM Growth Agency. They're boosting e-commerce businesses to 6 and 7 figures in revenue and cover everything from ads and social media influencers to making your website better. GSM Growth Agency focuses on taking businesses from startup success to bigger success, going above and beyond to make sure growth sticks around. They're all about cool ideas, lasting partnerships, and making your mark in the e-commerce world. And be sure to support the podcast by ordering some logo merchandise from our online store. Listen to all of our sponsors' commercials later in this episode and follow their links in the show notes to learn more about their products and services.
I'm in Florida building websites one after another. I think 20 in a month. I hit oh my goodness, I don't want to do this for the next 20 years. It's going to be crazy. GoDaddy's coming out with a website builder. WordPress is becoming popular. Yeah. I'm like, oh, okay, well, they don't need custom stuff anymore. Let's partner with some people and build something. So found some individuals, investors, and restaurant owners, and we worked on a project for several years for delivery of food for the back kitchen, right, for small businesses. And it's more of for small distributors, not Cisco, not the bigger boys. They already have an automated system. This was for, Can I go find the best price for 50 pounds of chicken from the local 5 distributors?
So this is like a B2B.
It was a B2B.
Where the restaurant was buying their inventory. It was an inventory purchasing system.
And then also linked to several automation downloads of all their inventory every day with the prices. And
so there was a fee that they would get from the vendors around your system.
Yeah, they would either pay a fee to be part of it or a percentage of the sales that flow through it.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the podcast. Got another great guest. All the guests are great, but we got another great guest coming on. We're going to talk about some really unique things that Dave's doing with his company, tweva. If you are listening on your favorite directory, please leave us a 5-star review whenever you can. If you're watching us on YouTube, like us, subscribe, so we can keep bringing the kind of quality content that we're bringing here today. So we'll get started with the credits, and then we'll bring Dave onto the show.
The information provided in these episodes is for entertainment purposes only. It is not a guarantee of success or to be construed as advice of any kind. You should always seek advice from local licensed professionals before making any decisions.
The dictionary defines an entrepreneur as a person who organizes and manages any enterprise, especially a business, usually with considerable initiative and risk. People often start a business without much choice, perhaps due to a job loss or just being dissatisfied at work, and they come up with an idea they just know can be successful. They become entrepreneurs by accident. That is to say, their success or failure happens by accident, not with intention. My name is Mitch Beinhacker. I'm a corporate attorney and a business advisor. You're listening to The Accidental Entrepreneur, my podcast about how to achieve success on purpose, not by accident. Join me along with our monthly guests where we share our knowledge and help you get a hold of your business. And now on to today's episode.
Hello, my name is Dave Van Beekum, and I'm a co-founder and co-creator of tweva. It's the first business digital television that allows businesses to connect together and share their content and their events, and also local city events that are happening where the band is playing on Friday night. But it also allows other people to connect to it through a mobile device. So it's kind of like a shared digital billboard. And so I'm really excited to be here on the show.
All right, Dave. welcome to the show. I forget, what part of the country are you in?
I'm in Central Florida. I'm about 20 minutes north
so
of
you were
East Coast,
so.
20 minutes north of Disney area.
Okay. Did you guys get hit with the hurricane?
Well, not as much as like they called the day off of school, and we thought, okay, we can huddle down and watch a movie, but we just got a little drizzle and rain. So
it
was like in the last two hurricanes, it kind of just veered off and didn't hit us either. So, but we used to huddling down and dealing with some electricity going out for a 24-hour period or something like that.
Yeah, no, well, it's not that I wish that, right? You're like, oh boy, the storm's coming, so it's better. I guess
a lot of people were affected. Unfortunately, they were, but we were not. So we stayed safe.
Good. Okay, good. So we're both on the same time zone. Yeah. So it's about 10.
Well, I grew up north there in New Jersey. So, yeah.
Right. Where'd you say you're from?
Bergen
Jersey
County.
Originally?
So Wyckoff, right? 20 minutes from the city.
Got it. Yep. I was actually in Saddlebrook last night for a board hearing for something.
Yeah, my wife's from Saddlebrook, so that's funny.
Oh, there you go.
208 4 and Garden State right there.
Exactly. Right. Garden State Plaza. You wouldn't believe it if you saw it. It's like this high-end mall now. Garden State Plaza. Yeah, it's like got all the expensive stores. It's got Capitol Grill. You wouldn't even recognize it. Yeah, it was a dumb place.
It was, I think when I left, it was still needing a little help there, but it was better than Paramus Mall. So it was always like Garden State was nice.
Paramus Park is just falling apart.
I remember when I was younger.
In the heyday, though. Yeah, Paramus Park was the place to go, right? It was the place.
Yep.
And then
we used to walk around, me and my girlfriend, wife now. Oh, it's cold outside. Let's go take our pedometers and walk around the mall. And we did that a few times. I'm like, I think we're doing this a little bit too early because we were doing it with some of the senior citizens. And I was like, that's kind of dorky. But we always love to be like walking and outside. So Florida's a nice place.
Yeah, you're better off there. All right. So why don't we do this? So I want to talk we got about an hour together. We want to talk about tweva and what you're doing there, because it's kind of it's social network stuff, but it's unique. The approach that you're taking, kind of a combination of a bunch of stuff. But maybe let's start at the beginning, like when you were younger, how you got into business, background in entrepreneurship, stuff like that, and then maybe after commercial we'll get into tweva and what it is and all that kind of stuff. Does
absolutely.
that make sense?
So I started in tech, I think, when I was very young. Now that I kind of go back in my history, you don't really think about these things until you start thinking, what did I do when I was young? And
right.
Yeah, my dad was electrical contractor, but he also did the sound and audio for church and then for other events. Like he built his own custom speakers and he did those things. Every time he upgraded, he would take these older parts and put them in the basement. And it's just a matter of time before I was digging around going, hey, what is this old XLR microphone from like 1960, Yeah. And a Macintosh amplifier. Right. Oh, don't touch that one. That was expensive, So I got to play with a lot of these older electronic and then eventually video, like analog video equipment. And that started very young, like 8, 9 years old. And I got my first computer. It was a 286 33 megahertz computer. My uncle worked at Dun & Bradstreet. So he would, again, upgrade and take some of these parts and bring them home. Hey, you need a computer. I only had DOS on it. But anyway, that started this early love of, it was a green screen.
Cursor.
Yep.
That was it.
My dad actually had an 8088. Do you remember those?
Yeah, I do. You know what my first home computer was? It was an Atari. It was like an Atari. It didn't even have a real keyboard. It had like this flat keyboard. Atari 400, I think it was. Wow. It did nothing. It had a tape drive. You'd put cassettes in, and it would load up the tapes, and then it would crash.
Was that before like the Commodore?
Also, I wanted to make. Oh, it was around the time of the Commodore. Yeah, the Commodore 64, right? Is that what it was? The Commodore 64. Yeah, that had a real keyboard. I couldn't afford that. It was too expensive. My paper route money. I also want to make a clarification for anybody listening. You mentioned audio equipment in Macintosh. That has nothing to do with Apple computers. Macintosh is high end. They're still in business.
I saw a couple of amplifiers. Right? I was looking on like eBay and stuff. I'm like $5,000 for some of these old tabletop amplifiers, but they're all vacuum tubes. So. Yeah,
right. So it's not. That's the problem, right? It's got to update. But I don't know if they're still in business. But they were.
Yeah, it's a cleaner audio. Something. If you look at the distortion rates per wattage. It's a must, very clean sound because there's no digital compression in it.
Right. It was all important in those days. So did your dad like have a big mixing board he would take to the church with the speakers and all
whatever,
that kind of
was
stuff?
upgraded. You go from 16 to 32 to 64 channel. And there was always a older one in the basement. So I would play with the faders that were a little scratchy. And I set up, reel to reel on this side and then 2 VCRs over here. And I would be able to just play with this. I was like 10 then at that point. And then I think I went on vacation and found a little transmitter for like kids. Hey, transmit 75 feet and receive something on the other side. So I plugged it into the output and I said, hey, sister, turn on this radio station over here and we can listen to this music I'm going to mix. Right. And so never really went into music production, but it started kind of like in that just this was my play toy, to do those kind of things.
Yeah.
And then
you realize you could podcast things.
So as I progressed into computers and technology, I upgraded that 286 to 386 and kind of moved into, my dad was an electrical contractor. So every once in a while he'd have a client that needed a network in their, business or some Cat 5 run lines. I think it was Cat 1 back then. And so, I would help out.
Like
how does these crossovers work? It's got eight copper twisted pair instead of the regular telephone 4. So I would come in and I would kind of do these things. But then I got a little bit deeper into computer programming, and because I really liked to just sit there and build things. And personally, I think I remember just loving that undo button. Like I'd build something and maybe it wasn't the best. I just undo. And I was like, okay, let me try that again.
Right.
And so I just had a really early history in that tech world, and I was homeschooled at the same time. So I had a lot of time to kind of build out and play with these different things. It wasn't just a 1-hour course I was taking at school. So
you were programming?
A little bit of programming. I wasn't deep into programming at an early age. More kind of building computers, doing a little bit of basic networking, probably more on the graphical user interface side. Like I started networking with Windows 3.11. I wasn't programming, but I was like building out the network, setting the subnets and stuff like that.
Got it. So you weren't like programming Cobalt or whatever programs they were using in those days.
That was a little, probably not too early for somebody, but too early for me. Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right. So that's when the bug bit.
Yeah, that's when it happened. And then throughout that, just from then on, it was computers and technology and kind of a love of sitting there and building and watching screens. I was the first person in my field, group of people to have three computer screens on my computers when it was a 386. How do I have these 3 monitors?
Right. Well, that you had to put extra graphic cards in, right? And do special things.
And I had one of those first, I think it was an HP LX 620 Palm Top. Do you remember Palm Top computers? They're really tiny. And I would hang it in my jacket as I walked around. The jacket was sideways. I always remember walking around like, what's in your jacket? Oh, I got this personal computer. What does it do? Microsoft Excel?
Not much.
A very easy version, a very basic version of Microsoft Word, Windows CE Compact Edition. So I loved technology and computers. So kind of delved into that. And then when I eventually, fast forward a little bit further, I moved to Florida and started a web design company. And it was more like web design, tech / software development. And
so what year, Dave?
That was more like 2005, 2006, I believe.
Yeah, so we're about maybe 10 to 12 years into the internet at that point, right? Early 90s. I think we're really when the internet hit the shores of the U.S.
Yeah, I was on that early, the dial-up and the AOL and
AOL.
Played with those hacking bots that you could send, blast people's emails and got kicked off AOL. Dad, I swear I'll never do it again. Okay, one more time,
Right.
But I always loved
exactly. It's not
hacking, loving this stuff.
Right. You didn't think it was a big deal. It's like, come on. There to be broken. Right. Exactly. I remember in 92, I was at like some youth conference in the Middle East in Israel. There were kids from Europe. There were kids from the United States. There were kids from Israel. They were all talking, the Europeans and the Israelis were all talking about this thing called the internet. And I was like, I've told this story so many times. And I was like, well, what is that? And they explained what it was. I said, that's not a thing. I mean, I live in the United States. We hear about everything first. And I get back and there's all these AOL discs on like everybody's porch.
Yeah.
You never heard of it. Well, what was going on? Next thing you're dialing in and you're doing all kinds of stuff. But that was That was a very slow day.
That was
loading
no
videos.
videos. It was like a picture would,
one line at a time.
Don't nobody pick up the phone until I'm done. It was like 200 kilobytes, not that much, but yeah, my dad had like purchased I think he decided maybe I was on my way into the computers or the family something. And he had went out and bought a $10,000 Gateway 386 with a scanner. It was Wells 9 something. And it was closer to 10 than a 9. And it had the digital camera, 640 by 480 pixels. And I was playing around with that stuff when it really was just out there, that high tech. But I loved it. I could do this forever. It's like playing, but building. I didn't have business when I was that young, but I knew it was something I wanted to do.
Well, I'm older than you. So when I was playing in my dad's office, he was in the insurance business. They used to have computers that would run these things they were so DOS-based, all green screens. And you've heard of a deck writer? Like you would call up, you pick up the regular phone. Like remember old phones where you'd have like the mic here and the speaker here and you would call up to the company and you hear the noise, right, for the modem. And then you'd stick the phone into these suction cups.
I had one of those.
On the back of this thing. You did? And there was no screen. It was just paper. And it would start to print things out based on, I don't remember how or why or how you could get it to work. But that's how we would print things. You would send them to the company, I guess, and then call in and stick the thing in and wait. And it would just
I don't remember the paper. Maybe I had, or my mom had the second version.
The holes on the edge, the paper with I forget what they were called. And there was little plastic pins on the deck writer that would hold the paper. That would
like a
roll
dot matrix
through.
kind of. Yeah, dot matrix.
Dot matrix, that's what it was. It was like the early days of the dot matrix printer. And it was a deck writer and had these suction cups on the back. You'd stick the phone in. That's how you connected.
I guess my parents had one of those, but she would talk to her deaf friend. Yeah, and it had a little green one-line screen on it. And the letters would just go across and she could sit there and type and talk.
Because she would stick the phone in the device and then it would translate.
But I never saw them maybe once or twice use it. But I was like, okay, do we need this? Do we know what is it for? And it's so funny. Right. So surrounded by tech.
Weird looking. I know. Now it's all very.
Yeah. Back then it was like, oh, David's in tech. He's going to be something someday. He's going to do something. And now everybody has an iPad. Everybody's in tech. Everybody has an iPhone, a digital watch.
Your own programming.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. I'm wearing.
You got your digital.
Yeah. Samsung watch. Yeah. Because my kids and my wife want to make sure that whenever my phone buzzes and they send me a text, I know about it immediately because I don't read right. I got 2 of them.
Oh my goodness!
So, all right. So you started. So were you just doing like this kind of freelance type of stuff, or did you actually form a company where you had people working for you and you were doing web design?
That happened. The legal formation happened in Florida. So before that, it was just kind of freelancing, find work here, find work there. And, contracted to build databases and stuff for small companies. I'd go in there once a week or once a month, figure out what I need to do, and then build it from my office.
Like Access or something like that?
Yeah, it was like I dabbled a little bit in Access, a little bit in FileMaker, and,
Oh, yeah, FileMaker.
They're just changing their name now to Claris. And, since 1984, they've been out relational database systems. And so I was moving this huge database from a DOS based program called Telemagic, and they had I think 30 or 40 tables, all semi-encrypted. Some of them were encrypted, and I had to merge those into this newer version because they were running a Parallels machine inside of a Mac on an actual physical box, so 3 layers, and with different network.
And the data's all there, right? Because there was no cloud.
It all had to be local. But it was shared across the VPN to another location. So, we had a Cisco ASA 5505 either side.
The early days of offsite backup type of stuff, right?
So I figured out how to merge those together, bring that up to date. And, that turned out to be many millions of records of building everything from what we generically now call a CRM, but integrated a dialer into it and tracking and a lot of these things that really help figure out who you should be calling next, why you should be calling them, what do they need, what do they want, right? Somebody calls in, it can direct them to a specific person sitting at what chair because they're the client, and they could pick up and, oh, hey, Joe, yeah, I just talked to you 2 months ago about your kid went to college, right? And so they can see that note when it pops up.
Exactly. Right. Well, it's all really about data management now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all it is, right? It's just pushing data to the right people to give them the right information to make the right decisions or to make your app work. It's all database stuff, in the background. My son he graduated as an informatics major from the computer school, which I'd never heard of. I thought it was some bullshit thing. I'm like, listen, you're not going to do some bullshit. And I talked to him and I found out from his guidance counselor what it was. And now he works in the field, and that's what they do. They program systems for warehouse management and supply chain management. It's all data driven. Everything's just big relational tables.
It's how you can relate it and how you can scale it, because you can build a relational database, but it may not scale to 50 million records. It may only work, every time I pull this record, it's got to pull 10 other records. And you find those things out into the project. You go, oh, this is not as efficient as it could be.
We have 10,000 records now.
Yeah, exactly. It takes 2 minutes to boot up. Why does it do that? I was just talking to somebody over the weekend, and he said, yeah, my Excel sheet takes 2 minutes to open up because it calls all these other files that need to be opened. And I go, yeah, but that only works with...
Which is a lifetime in tech world. 2 minutes doesn't sound like a long time, but when you're sitting at your computer for 2 minutes, you want to shoot yourself.
But it's relational, so somebody else can open it. He's like, no, one person at a time. I'm like, oh, one person at a time.
Yeah, no, that's not right.
Yeah, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
So, but it is all about the data and how we can track it and find out what we need to find out within a couple of split seconds, because your brain works so quick, but it needs that info. So
right. And like you said, maybe you are answering the call and you're like, Dave, it's been so long. Oh, let's see. You want it to be in front of you right there.
So I added in the last note,
you can be more
note of whatever they talked about. And I'd say, hey, whatever you put in. Hey, I talked to him about so-and-so going to college and some money will free up over here. Call them back. We set recall dates on each person. Okay, I'll call you back in 25 days. 25 days, it pop up on your screen. Call this person back.
Right.
This is...
Yeah. It's like putting notes on your calendar, but
because when you're over the phone or any kind of digital, you're trying to build that relationship, and the relationship is based on trust. And that's what you have. You have, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that. And for the first 10 or 15 phone calls, you have to do what you're going to say. You have to do it. Otherwise, you're going to lose them to somebody who is more organized, has a better database. And it really comes down to those little things that make a company either scale and grow, or they're just frustrated because I lost that piece of paper with so-and-so's number on it. Said it was going to call him back. I don't even know who was talking to, because you had to call 50 people.
Right.
Exactly.
So were you working in any particular industries at that point?
That was a finance.
More so
that was finance industry. So it was very important for investment reasons that they would call them back to buy at this price or that price. And it was... but it was good. Learned a lot of the relational pieces, and then not only the tech side, but the customer side of how they need to be treated. What can you record? Like one of the things was, can I record a voicemail for the week about what's happening in the financial markets? And then we can press a button and leave that on the voice machine. I know today they have this, but 15 years ago it was
a little bit more manual.
It was how to...
So when you say voice machine, you mean on the message people call into the company?
I was on an outgoing call. So they would have to call a certain amount of people, and if they could just click a button and then it would play for 30 seconds and then it would hang up the phone, all automated, right? So
like an automated dialer system.
Kind of an automated, a mix between automated and manual, because they still had to sit there, and because if they picked up, they didn't want to be like, beep.
Yeah, you want to
hold on, I'm going to transfer you. That sounds, I don't like that. Right. You want to be that right there and saw that last message of what, hey, Joe, I talked to you about so-and-so.
Yeah. No, if I ever answer a call I don't recognize, I wait a minute. I don't say anything. If I hear dead silence on the other end, I know they're waiting to hear if there's a live person to transfer it.
Sometimes you get the blank, and then you get the, oh, hi, I'm calling for the, and you're like, it doesn't matter what I say at this point. You're just going to continue.
Right. They're a robot. Exactly.
That's a big thing.
All right. So,
the AI robots now and robocallers.
Yeah, I know. Some of it you can get rid of, but it's hard, and spam and And then, I don't even know what you unsubscribe to all these things you get in the email. I think you're just telling them that you're a live person. I don't even think half of them follow the
In the
law.
data analytics world, you absolutely could. When you open up that unique link or click on that unique link, you're telling that bot, I'm alive. Absolutely. You are right.
Right. Like text messages, right? It doesn't matter whether you say stop, reply, go, yes. It doesn't matter. They just want to know that you replied something.
Now they know it's not a landline. They know it's a mobile phone.
Right.
And there's somebody on the other line.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. So this was, you said, mid 2000s. So what'd you do with that company? You kept growing that company?
Yeah, they kept growing, and we just kind of hit a peak where I developed all the automations that I could. And we kind of said, okay, well, it just kind of sits there. I still manage a little piece here or there for them once in a while, but it's just essentially working and running. So,
okay. What would you say was, what'd you learn from that experience? Like things you do differently?
Oh my goodness. There's so much that I learned from there. I don't know what I would do differently. But just humans and people, like having 10 clients like that is probably better than having one. Because when you figure out a problem that might have existed there for 2 years and you might have even overlooked it.
Yeah.
I could see why scalability of having 10 people on a team doing 10 different clients. So you're having these discussions of, oh, I have this problem and I have a solution.
Right.
Whereas if you're just going in there alone, developing, trying to build something, it's very hard to see every problem and every solution.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, okay, I have to go home. Right. I have to spend time with the family. I have to take a shower. I have to go eat food.
Yeah, you can't, the brain power to do it. It's not possible.
So the teaming up with
the team approach.
Absolutely. That's what makes these mega companies so powerful.
The same way. Of course. Yeah. They have the team, the people, and the brain power. You can't, you can be as smart as you want, but you're only one person. You need somebody to kind of review it and give you opinion. Same with law. I practice solo, but I'm always sending things to colleagues to look at.
Yeah.
I send them to clients. I'm like, listen, don't just assume that everything I send you is correct. You have to read what I'm sending you. Because I might look at something and see a word, your name is David and I have it spelled DAIVD and it's because it's backwards. My brain has fixed it in my mind, but it's not correct on the, that stuff happens.
I would think in law though, that you have, a standard though, or, but it's still open for, I wouldn't say there's a standard in software development or at least in the custom world. I know a lot of programmers have said, you got to be careful. Like you have to be very careful because it's still an open industry. There's no standard of saying you have to do things like electrical contractor or a plumber, this drain pipe has to go down 3 inches every 3 feet, whatever. But I always think of law as a little bit more standardized.
Places. Well, on the contract side, definitely. I'm not starting with a blank piece of paper every time. And I have standard provisions that I use and stuff, and I update them or whatever. But when it comes to the stuff specific to the client, that's where mistakes are made. When you've looked at a contract 14 times, you've been working on it for 2 weeks, your eyes start to glaze over, You can't. Yeah, and look, that's what you pay for, right? If you go to a bigger firm and you're a bigger company, you're working with a lawyer and they're charging $700-800, maybe $1,000 an hour, some cases more. It's because they got a whole team of people doing stuff.
Yeah, they're reviewing it,
whatever. So
several times for that.
Results.
Their error rate is.
So if you're a small person, you're not going to pay for that.
Yep,
much lower.
Error rate or something.
And they're probably doing more complicated stuff, longer. So if they're doing a 400 or 500 page contract, that's a little hard for one person to do.
That's true.
But a team of people can work on different parts, and
it matters. It
gets complicated.
Like when I talk to VC capital and lawyers and patent lawyers, they said, "Hey, you can go get $1,000 contract somewhere, but if you really want to build this business to 5 million, 10 million, 100 million one day, you're really going to go to court with $1,000 document. Really? Like, do you really want to grow everything based upon that? Or if you spend 10,000 and you would know that each word is put there for a reason, that's going to protect you a little bit more."
Right.
And I thought, wow,
exactly.
Those are the things you don't always think about in business. You're just like, get it done. Whatever's on fire today, get those things finished and out. And so, let me focus on whatever else I need to do. But some things really have long-term effects.
They do. And you know what? You got to, as a professional, you got to tell the client when you think, listen, you were small, you started with me. I work with businesses, and I work with small businesses. They're doing 100 million in sales, but sometimes the client outgrows you and they got to go to, you tell them, listen, let me refer you to a colleague of mine who runs a bigger department, has more resources for you. It's going to cost you more, but it's the right way to go. Yeah. So, I know people, they've been working with their attorneys forever, and you're just like, well, okay, how come he's never updated that stuff? Well, he's 90,
Yep.
And they wait for your attorney to die. But another topic. So we were talking about your company. So you kind of exited out of that.
Yep. So that was a contract with the company, right? So, but I was I would dabble a little bit into the outsourcing way back when, and I just found the quality was not there and the security was not there. Some of the stuff with the financial world you could not touch, with another company or another freelancer in another place.
Right. They don't want that. It's got to be
a certain amount of security things
control.
You don't want anybody to know, what does this table touch anything kind of finances, or could somebody export the data? So you have to be very careful when you're outsourcing any kind of project to, the conversation was you get
China, India.
You get hacked one time and your name is gone. Yeah. One newspaper article.
And these guys get in a lot of trouble too, because they have compliance issues and stuff. The clients in the financial world, they have a lot of licenses. They have a lot of compliance issues, and they're subject to SEC jurisdiction, all other jurisdictions. So a lot of that stuff, I don't even have them on the podcast. I have a lot of financial guys I work with. I've every once in a while I give in. I'm like, you sure it won't be a problem? Oh, no problem. And I can't even get them on the show. Like the compliance people are like, well, you got to change this or that. This I can't change it. We recorded it. That's it. So
I don't say this or do that. Yeah. Yep.
Right. They want to review everything. Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So why don't we do this? It's been about 30 minutes. Let's take a break and play some of the commercials, and then we'll come back and we could talk about tweva, because obviously in the mid 2000s, the social networks weren't really there yet. Right. I mean, they were just social media was just coming around. It was all new. Facebook was new and the infrastructure wasn't there. So we'll get into that in a few minutes. All right.
Here's a word from our sponsors.
Looking to market and grow your business? Or perhaps you're just getting started and want to hit the ground running? AWeber is the best choice for online email marketing and automation of your business. From maintaining a subscriber list to drip campaigns and landing pages, AWeber gives you tools and integrations that make marketing easy and fun. As our partner and sponsor, we use all their tools to promote the podcast and market our law firm. AWeber, the best alternative for online marketing. For over 30 years, the Alternative Board, or TAB, has built a thriving community of forward-thinking CEOs and business owners who want to radically improve their companies. Through unique combinations of one-on-one business coaching, participation in monthly TAB board meetings with other non-competing owners, a suite of strategic tools, and customized strategic planning workshops, TAB membership can deliver greater strength to your business and a better work-life balance for you and your family. All packaged in a streamlined and affordable service that the people at TAB invite you to try risk-free. Are you struggling with managing advertising due to a lack of time or expertise? Perhaps you're facing challenges in scaling ads for your store. Are you feeling lost when strategies have no success? GSM Growth Agency is your reliable partner in overcoming these business challenges. Feel the impact of collaborating with a team dedicated not only to short-term goals, but also to building long-term partnerships and achieving sustained success. Embark on an exciting journey to redefine the possibilities of e-commerce and create a legacy of unparalleled excellence. Take decisive action now. Follow their link in the show notes to receive a complimentary audit of your Shopify store conducted by a GSM expert. Propel your e-commerce game to new heights with GSM Growth Agency.
Follow the link in the show notes to learn more about all of our sponsors. And now back to our show.
All right, we are back. You can hear me, Dave?
I can.
You there? Okay. Why don't we get into tweva, because I'm sure there's a history there, right? Because we couldn't do this kind of stuff way back, like all the video online and
Yeah.
everything like that. So why don't you tell us the metamorphosis of it, how it came about, and where it is today, and what is it, and how people can learn from it. and
Yeah.
use it.
So, I'm in Florida building websites one after another. I think 20 in a month. I hit oh my goodness, I don't want to do this for the next 20 years. It's going to be crazy. GoDaddy's coming out with a website builder. WordPress is becoming popular.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay, well, they don't need
yourself.
custom stuff anymore. Let's partner with some people and build something. So found some individuals, investors, and restaurant owners, and we worked on a project for several years for delivery of food for the back kitchen, right, for small businesses. And it's more of for small distributors, not Cisco, not the bigger boys. They already have an automated system. This was for, can I go find the best price for 50 pounds of chicken from the local 5 distributors?
So this is like a B2B.
It was a B2B.
Where the restaurant was buying their inventory. It was an inventory purchasing system.
And then also linked to several automation downloads of all their inventory every day with the prices. And so
there was a fee that they would get from the vendors around your system.
Yeah, they would either pay a fee to be part of it or the percentage of the sales that flow through it. So we started looking into it, and nothing was really out there yet. So we spent a little bit of time, wrote a patent on it, and took several years and got that one approved for this complex system of notifying when certain distributors are in or out of that product, pinging different trucks if they're at different locations. And when we got kind of close to the end of that one, we said, okay, let's start to market it to local restaurants because we were already testing it in theirs. We said, we might need a marketing arm of, this business so that we can kind of touch these local businesses and teach them a little bit about how it works.
Yeah.
So we were sitting in, I believe, one of the restaurants or around the table or something. And that's how tweva was born. We were sitting there going like, okay, well, how about, can we be on the TV in the business? That would be a neat way. And we said, yeah, well, how else could we just run an ad for us? Yeah, but how about for other people too? Could we put their business card on the TV, or could we show their logo? Could we show, well, that would be too much ads. So we can't make an ad platform. Scratch that. Let's figure out what we can do create our own little TV system for the business owner. And one of them would be, go around and put those little USB sticks in it, and it would be a slideshow, and it would just rotate through some media. And then you could go around every month and change it out. It kind of existed out there.
Right. But that wasn't a closed circuit system where all the TVs in the sports bar could show different things.
But that existed, and there wasn't anything unique about it. And then I was looking at these little computers from Intel, the little stick computers. I'm going, hey, might be able to create a digital display / something connected to the internet where people could add stuff to the TV. And it would be a little bit, not just ads. Let's make this something about the community. Let's give the person that walks in, let's say a landscaper walking in, where's he going to go to eat? Can he put an ad on the TV? Can he just open up his phone and say, hey, put $5 on this TV for the next week and see if I can get a couple of new customers?
But literally, you'd walk into the place with your phone and you could purchase an ad that you want to have up there for a time period.
Yep.
Okay. So it's like a closed circuit television station.
It's like it's really a business centered and community centered TV channel for the city. So each city would have its own network. And if all those businesses in that city connect, they would share certain things with each other. They can't share food to food, can't share doctor dentist to doctor dentist, right? Because that's against the terms of service, really. We want this to be...
Meaning you don't want the ad to show up in another dentist's office.
I don't want to be...
but that you can press.
You have to define what type of business you are, and then we would not show that one against another. I don't want a barbershop being shown in another barbershop. But
hey, if you're not happy with getting your hair cut,
you can stop by.
And you're sitting in a chair, get up, leave, and come
600 yards to your right is another one. Yeah, we don't want that.
Geolocation.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So it's the town. Well, let's keep going through what tweva is. I don't want
Yeah.
to
So,
jump
but it started though as this more, like you said, a closed circuit. We kind of administrate who's going to be on what TV, and we kind of control a little bit of that. And then maybe we reward a business owner for being part of it here or there. But as we played with it and said, okay, well, we can't really, I mean, if a person comes in, they're not going to just look at the screen, call a phone number and say, here's my credit card. They're going to need a mobile app. So we went into can we have the box, call Wi-Fi, check the server. And as we got again into this one too, we said, we have to write a patent on this one because we have all these integrated features of somebody walks into a business, and if they have their cell phone on with their geolocation, can we change the screen? Can we modify the screen from their cell phone saying, hey, I'm here at the coffee shop, right? Dave's at the coffee shop. So show him some nerdy, reel-to-reel Mackie board, technical things. And then when he leaves, or the average time that he's going to be there is maybe 20, 30 minutes, maybe an hour. When he leaves, take that down. And there might be a mother sitting over there, and she might want to see some gift shop, baby clothes at the gift shop down the street. Right. And you can't really do that with normal TV because you have to buy this large package. Oh, we'll put you on 1 million TVs. You're going to play once, right? It's for $2,000.
Right.
So we're running through all these issues. Right. How can we keep someone entertained? And so we slowly built out the platform tweva of a box that goes behind a business owner's TV, and the business owner would would open the app and start taking pictures of his business, of his food, services, employees, and then he would add that to his business. And in his TV.
And the TV's in his business. So it's a way to, so the first step is the business owner can basically put up his own stuff about people eating there and specials or whatever on the TVs. Let's say there's 3 of them in the restaurant. Okay. That's the first step.
So he's kind of branded his business, right? So if it's an Italian restaurant, you're going to go to YouTube, you're going to find some drone footage of going over Italy, right? Little things that are happening, and you put that on your TVs. And then you're adding in a little bit of employees, maybe the local weather. And now when people walk in, they're saying, okay, this is kind of neat. I got some Italian stuff going on over here. The weather's over there. Oh, look who's in the kitchen this week, right? It's so-and-so. And so now they kind of personalize feel of what's going on. Now, in between that content can be a few ads about local businesses. But we don't want them to be ads. We want them to be more like This Old House, where you're watching a business owner or a contractor do something. This is like infotainment, right? So it's not, 30-second ad. It's if I'm going to work on a car or something or detail a car, that's the person detailing the car. And then his phone number could be at the bottom, or a QR code could be at the bottom. But it's something about the community. Whenever you look at a tweva TV, this is happening local, right? And so we kind of...
So where are you getting that data?
So those videos are user generated. So the user would create that content, or local influencers, right? Influencers are great with their phones. They're great with the iPhones, the Android. What camera's the best? What angles look good? And they do a great job of connecting the story of the business to something great for content, and that being played on the TV. They can also use that on their social media.
So somebody has a tweva app on their phone and is somehow tied into the TV at the restaurant or in the city or whatever, and they're using the phone to make the content onto the tweva app, which then knows what to do with it.
Yeah, they would submit it for approval, like if they wanted it to be pushed to the city, right?
Yeah, it's not pornographic.
Yeah, they can't post inappropriate content. I have a web filter API, can go through and check for guns and skin and needles and a few other things, right? That you want to post, content and inappropriate content. But the approval moderation process is a little bit further for like local ads. If you want to run an ad, you have to purchase a certain amount of time, right, on all the TVs. But if you're adding something for the city, like let's say a parade just went through, and you say, hey, this is a great picture. The American flag is here, or some kids are waving the flag and here. This is that's the kind of neat content that should be shared on the TV screens, because not all business owners can make it to every event. Not everybody can make it to all event. There's been many times I've missed the parade with my children. I'm going, wish I was there.
Yeah, but this is just a consumer, a tweva user. This isn't somebody who works for the town.
That's just a user. He can post that kind of content, and then a moderator would say, okay, this is good, share it, right? And it would live for 24 to 72 hours on the network. So now that content, it's being blasted out to all of the TVs in the network, and that's what produces the content. So the community is creating content. Business owners are creating content more for commercial side, right? Hey, come to my restaurant, come to my business, but it's a good mix.
Right.
And it could even be down as community art. Hey, I painted this. I'm a local artist. I want to kind of say what's going on, or I might be at the city hall next Tuesday. And they would be able to add that to the community TVs. It's kind of like a digital bulletin board.
Okay, but anybody who's on the system, though, has to have a tweva box, like in the restaurant or something like that, right?
It started that way, but some of the VC groups said, is it scalable with the box? And I said, yeah, if you look at some of the other big companies, you have to give somebody the box or sell the box. So we worked on designing a TV app that can be downloaded from Google TV, working on Apple TV, and then it'll be Roku next. So any business owner with a smart TV, I got maybe 3 TVs. I have one for sports. I like this one for this. My third TV could be a tweva TV. And they would join the network, and they could start connecting with those other businesses.
So eventually for Amazon Fire, for example, I could download the tweva app to that one TV and set it up I put my local town, and I get the whole feed.
You would get whatever's available in that town. So now if you're the only one in your town, it's going to be weather, right? A couple local little things, but you're essentially the first one. So you have to create a little bit of content and then go to your neighbor, and the neighbor's going to pick that one up too. And he's going to start to add content. So it really, because it's local based, it has to be user generated and or pulled from an API feed of something that's going on in the town. One of the things we did was connect with like the mayor's Twitter feed or the city's rec Facebook. So whenever they're posting content about what's happening in the city or the town or the sports, it's just immediately being added to the network.
Okay, I see. So, for example, on Sunday, we have our Fall Street Festival. Probably 20, 30,000 people come to town. We have 150 booths of, stores and business owners and craft people and food and everything that comes in. So if I'm a tweva user, if I have the app on my phone, you're saying I could video the event and then post it onto, if there is a feed in my town. I have no idea.
Yeah, you'd be able to share that, right? And eventually you'd be rewarded in some way. If it's good content, you might be rewarded a certain amount of advertising time. So that would help also those influencers. Hey, I'm going to create content for the network, but on the other side, I'd like to be, shown as far as whatever they do. Most influencers are promoting something, like they either have a business on the side or a product or a service, and then they would get some minutes or seconds in return for posting quality content.
Okay, so because I don't find tweva on my phone. Well, is it on Android?
It's on Android and Apple Store.
Oh, here it is, tweva. Okay, so if I install it, so it's on Apple and Android, so you can pretty much get it for any device. Okay, and then I got to set up an account.
You set up an account
and say where I am, what town I'm in, for example. And I doubt my town of Westfield has it. But who knows?
We're not there yet. We're still working on Central Florida. We have some in North Carolina, some in Texas. But essentially, we would need some TVs set up in the town for you to find those TVs, and you could add something to them.
Right, and the TVs would have to be some TV in a diner or a bar.
It doesn't really do much in a house, right? So this is a digital display for businesses.
It's gotta be business.
So,
install a tweva TV.
Yeah. Okay. So the idea is to give that business owner, like if you look into TV advertising for a general, let's say a pizza shop or a chiropractor, if they go straight to a TV company, it's going to be $10,000 to do an ad. Right? Oh, we got to produce some content. It's 30 seconds. Then we're going to run it can't just run it for 1 month or you got to run it for several months. So it turns out that like 98% of small businesses just don't advertise on TV because it's just expensive.
No, because it's too expensive.
And I jokingly say it's not because you don't have a 4K camera in your back pocket. Now, when we were growing up, there was no digital cameras, right? How would you even produce? No. You'd have to take a film camera. So this is right on the cutting edge of you have the content, you have the production tools, but you just don't have a way to show it. Like, where are you going to show it? Well, I'll post it on my Facebook page. Great if you have Facebook followers. What if you don't have enough Facebook followers? How do you gain those, especially in your own community? And so the TV is a great way because it's kind of passive advertising. It's something that, you're not necessarily looking for an AC guy. You're not necessarily looking for a pool builder. But when you're out and about in the town, you keep seeing those ads. And so we've kind of, it's a little bit more passive. And so we've
subliminal.
So we branded it as building you as a community expert. Now, if your face was everywhere in your town, how many people are in the town? 50,000. Yeah.
My town?
30,000.
35.
Could you handle 30,000? Not 30,000. That's a silly, but you'd probably be very busy as a community expert. I'd just say as like an AC repair person, or even my town is 50,000 people. If I was doing any kind of service, that's a lot of people to deal with. You don't always need to go outside of your town. It's not a bad, but I think a majority of the problems of the small businesses, we don't have that exposure that we need. So this is a way that, this is a way that we could help small businesses gain that exposure, but at a fraction of the price, because I don't think the TV has been touched yet as far as like efficiency. You have a,
I think there are. It's like it's like a digital placemat. Like you can, there's some places that'll do it on TVs, but there's nothing integrated where you can just go to an app and sign up and get it up.
You can't say I want to play at this bar on Friday night between 9 o'clock and 12 o'clock.
Right.
And
you can do.
Yeah, and you can't say, oh, I can just do it, but I'll bid 10 cents an ad. I'll put $5 in the account, right? And just like Google Ads, it started very cheap, but as competition comes in, they raise the bid, and that's the ideas. So get the early adopters; they're coming in first. They get that first dose of, wow, this is amazing. And as the network grows, you have some bigger advertisers in there, and they kind of drive the price up.
So how many users do you have in the system?
Very well. We don't have a ton of users. We're on the version 2 of the app, but the screens, we just have about 20 to 30 screens in Central Florida. So we're just on building out the first. Well, we were kind of in multiple cities in Central Florida, but we had a co-founder. One of our partners passed away, and so we've kind of been dealing with the building out the next piece of the marketing to get this one moving. To grow, to scale. Several things like the box need to be adjusted so we could push it to a smart TV versus a physical box. And then the marketing behind scalability and creating content to become viral. Many, many things.
Right. Well, I guess before smart TVs became as common as they are, now every TV you buy is a smart TV. You really have to look hard to get one that's not a smart TV with apps and whatever. But prior to this, you'd have to go the box route. You really didn't have
I was looking for TVs with no smart TV in it in the very beginning, because I was like, I don't want people switching over to Roku. I don't want them switching over to Netflix, right?
But they're switching.
They could switch it to HDMI. Can we track if HDMI 1 is being played versus HDMI 2? Right. But in the end, you want a benefit to the business owner to say, no, I want that being played. Like, keep that on. It's got my content on there, and it has my friend's content on there. And that creates a strong network. And then the flip side for the business owner is that they're getting reward tokens for tweva. So every time an ad gets played, he gets a little reward that he can either spend or hold. And it would grow, that value of each token will grow with the size of the network. So
they don't get a share of the revenue that comes in through their business, people advertising.
They do in the form of the token. Because think about it, in the very beginning, it's if you put $1 on the TV, it's not much, right, for distribution.
Right, of course.
So if we can give them a
Right.
token that's worth something, but will rise in value in the future, every dollar could be worth $50, right? If we scale it the
Got
right
it.
way. And so it's kind of an easy way for a business owner to say, hey, you know, I believe in the system. It's the first ever where I can kind of participate and control what's on my TV. I don't have to have deal about competitors. Not going to get paid, but it's like buying a little bit of crypto and hoping for the best, except
Right.
you know,
Yeah, no, I
you have a way to like tell your friends like, hey, you want to advertise on the TV? Okay, cool. Yeah. Maybe it's $1, maybe it's $5, but it's something, and it will grow with the network. So if you have how many seconds are available on the network, what's being used for ads, what's being used for local news, and whatever's left over, we can calculate a forward-looking number based upon growth, right? So
So what's the biggest challenge with the business so far? Is it acquisition of something?
yeah,
But what is
it's
it?
a knowledge. I think it's a knowledge gap of the consumer understanding what this technology is. I could go into a business and say, this is a TV network, and somebody might say, okay, I get it. The other one, it might have to say, it's a social media network, right? And you can connect with other businesses. Because it doesn't exist, it's harder to explain. It's like trying to tell somebody 10 years ago, you have to create a business Facebook profile. And they would say, why? You know, why do I need that? Facebook was popular, but not that
Somebody-
popular. Yeah. So it's really that acquiring and educating of what is this and how does it work? Now influencers are becoming a little bit more popular. So if you tell a business, hey, can I have 5 influencers come into your business and create content? Oh, yes. We said that 3 years ago. What's an influencer?
I don't know what you're talking about, right? Exactly. So the crux of the system, though, is to get local people to advertise locally and to share things that are going on in the community on the TVs that don't normally get onto. It's not regular TV, but get onto TVs in the different businesses.
Yes. Yeah. It's for the community to kind of take over their own channel. Right now.
So what if I'm the business owner? What advantage do I have? Is my business being advertised on my TVs? So that's one advantage.
Your business is being advertised on the TVs, and for a low fee of whatever you choose, you can be at select other locations. So when someone is, and it's
got it. So you can put your stuff up and say, here, also show this at 6 other locations. As long as they're not your competition, they can show.
And those people are out and about in a community. So, you know, Facebook ads, you're trying to get somebody off the couch. You're trying to get somebody off their computer at home, or maybe take an offer. These are people that are in the community right now. So if they are getting their hair cut, they are at the gym, they see something right down the street, they go, I'm out right now. I'll take a look. And they can do. Yeah.
Right. So I guess the challenge is user adoption, right? If I join the system and I'm the first guy in Orlando, my stuff's not being shown anywhere but my restaurant, because I'm the only guy using it.
It's essentially a digital display for you until the second guy, third guy, fifth guy comes in, and now it becomes a small network.
Right. So you're really building a social TV network within a community that everybody can kind of participate in.
Yes. And it's something, it's complicated, right? It's
it's not that complicated when you understand it. I think the execution is complicated. I'd be curious to see what obviously the original business plan, if you looked at it, was different because it was based on those boxes, and the technology keeps changing. It's a very fast moving thing. There's no other companies coming around that are trying to compete with you, do similar things.
I haven't seen any yet. Yeah.
Okay. Because you're in a very fast moving industry, right?
Yeah, that's hence the reason for the patent, and we're just working on one of the last claims in there, and it's a lot of complex pieces. People walk here, GPS getting you information. What are we displaying at what time, based upon what interest rate, what interest the person, are just a few of the queries. But yeah, it's a complex. So you almost can't tell people that. You have to say, oh, it's a local business network. It's a social TV platform. You know, if an influencer walks in, you could be ordering your coffee behind or in front of an influencer. You would never know they have 1 million followers. Now, if they were on the TV and you kept seeing them, you might be like, I've seen it on the TV.
Who's that dude?
Or like if you were on there, we would know you're a law firm. We would know you. You would be the community expert. But right now, it's like we're not being seen.
Right. So with, I guess you said you have some venture capitalists are involved, right?
We're working on that. We just hit the tail end of the market before it kind of crashed. So we're still working on it, but there's several people interested. But it's instead of
so you're in a round, basically. You're in a round to raise capital.
Yeah.
Because I would think that if you want to hit a community, if you target, let's say we want to get tweva going in this community, you need to advertise the shit out of it. I mean, people have to know what it is, you know, and get the town to adopt it and get some restaurants on. Maybe some beta users, they get a 6-month subscription or something.
Going to the town. I went to my town, and I have not City Hall, but every other building, municipal building at the moment, and they love it for local events and just because they haven't produced content yet, but we're working on little pieces that they could share. Because again, if they're in all the local businesses, it just helps. It's like a small TV station.
Got it. So tell me the plan, because we're almost out of time anyway. So you're in this round, you're trying to raise capital. Is that the next stage, to raise the capital in order to launch in different cities? You have some cities targeted?
Yeah, that would be the first person, I think, to cover most of Florida if we can, and then just grow out from there. Okay. But there's nothing stopping somebody from picking it up in any state and saying, hey, I want to be the moderator, or I want to be the city official or the person for my town, and go around to businesses and help grow it and use it for advertising. So it's an open system, right? But
so basically, if somebody's listening in the Midwest to the podcast, they want to reach out to you on LinkedIn or whatever and get in contact with you, go to tweva.com, whatever it is, we'll put it in the show notes. They could theoretically launch it in Oklahoma or Denver or Illinois or Chicago or wherever they want to do it. Because it's just an online system.
It's a platform, and they would become, they would take some portion of advertising fees and run that in their city, and then help grow the network, because anybody throughout the next how many years can walk in and somebody has to administrate that content. This is junky.
Right.
It has to be quality.
Yeah, you're not ready to do that.
It has to be quality content. How many people does Facebook have on their team of looking at, this, can we show this and not that?
You need to have a whole huge department.
So we're getting there. But the idea, the plan would be Tweva being, we picked the name because it's a very easy thing to say. It fits in there with Facebook or Meta now. Meta, Google, Twitter, Tweva, right? Hey, like my daughter, hey, Dad, put me on Tweva TV. Take my soccer game and put it on Tweva TV. Let's watch it at Chili's. It's made easy to say. So I want it to be the local TV platform for every city, every city across anywhere. So that's really the plan.
All right. So how can people follow you, connect with you, learn about Tweva, get involved in the program?
So we're on every platform, every social platform. So you can just search Tweva, TWEVA, or you can go to our website, tweva.com. You can download our mobile apps it's on Google. It's not on Apple TV yet. Still working out one bug. But it's on all the mobile platforms. So you can download the app, join, or send me an email, dave@tweva.com, and just join us. We'd love to have you. If you're a small business, we'd love to help you build exposure in your small town with the first ever TV network.
All right. Well, Dave, I can't thank you enough spending some time with me from what is sunny, I guess, right now, sunny Florida. And we'll definitely watch your growth and stay in touch.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Accidental Entrepreneur. Opening and closing music written and performed by Howie Moskovich and made to order music. For information about Howie and his music services, please follow the link in our show notes. If you like the podcast, please tell others about us. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, on Amazon Music, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and most of the other podcast directories. If you like what you hear, please leave us a 5-star review and feel free to share our episodes on social media. If you have any questions or comments, ideas for the show, or you'd even like to appear as a guest, reach out to us by email at info@beinhackerlaw.com.
The Accidental Entrepreneur is hosted by Mitch Beinacker and produced by Beinacker Law. If you'd like to learn more about our business and legal services, you can find us on social media or visit our website at beinackerlaw.com. Thanks for listening, and be sure to subscribe to our feed to be notified of all future episodes.